working. So I'm in Austin right now. I'm at this hipster pizza place called Home Slice. The Wi-Fi's garbage, and but I just found out the password. My husband's already inside at a table, so I was like, give me the password. I've got to tell you guys like about the crazy night that I just had here in Austin. So I had this bizarre dinner that you guys aren't gonna believe. I'm gonna tell you about in just a second. But after the bizarre dinner, which like involved text messaging Beto O'Rourke, so like you're gonna want to hang on to hear that story. I get into this Uber, and within like a minute and a half, I end up talking to the Uber driver about abortion, because he was like, oh, have you ever been to Austin before? I was like, yeah, I come here a lot. I was like, I've actually spoken at UT a few times. He's like, oh, what do you do? And so I was like, oh, I'm a pro-life feminist. And he's like, it's one of those things you get a lot when you tell people you're a pro-life feminist, where he's very confused, and he's like, wait, so you're like for or against abortion? I'm like, oh, I'm against abortion. He's like, oh, you're a Republican? And I was like, no, I'm not a Republican. And I was like, and I'm not religious, and so any of these other stereotypes. And he's like, well, I don't understand what you're saying. And so I start kind of explaining the concept of pro-life feminism, and how I said, actually right down the street, my mom was 19 years old at the University of Texas when she got pregnant with me, and she ended up having to quit school and move home, and there just weren't accommodations for her. And so that's really drives my activism. We want to make sure that women feel so well supported that abortion's never an option for them, because it's unnecessary. And he's like, well, I just disagree with that. And so I was saying earlier that we posted the video of my friend Katie, who's from Austin, and she's like the guy who confronted her the other day, where he's like, nobody in Austin's pro-life. Turns out that's really true, except for me and Katie now, so we're up to 2. Anyway, and so he's like, well, I just believe that we shouldn't tell women what to do with their bodies. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like, I don't think we should either. I was like, but we're talking about, other human bodies. Like, I go through the normal thing. And I said, and ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't think it's about laws. I think it's about getting to the root issue and making sure that women feel so well supported that they don't have to have abortion. He's like, well, I guess it's just not something I really talk about. And I was like, well, because you've been told you can't, because no uterus, no pain. It's telling me it's paused again. Hopefully it's still working. Anyway, so he's like, well, yeah, I guess it's just, I think that it's a woman's choice. And I said, well, I think a lot of times guys say that as a cop-out because they don't actually want to have to step up, and a lot of women aren't supported, and ultimately we end up seeing them choose abortion when really it's not a choice that they want to make at all, but they feel they have no other choice. And so I was like, if you're truly pro-choice, like, you should want women to truly have a choice when it comes to this. And he's like, okay. And I forgot this part. So as this is all happening, we are going in the wrong direction from my hotel, because I had just come from my hotel to the place we were at, and we are going in a completely different direction. And he's pretty hostile, you guys. Like, he's kind of raising his voice at me, and he's like, well, I'm from New York. And it was just like, I don't know, it was all this stuff where I'm like, am I about to get murdered? Is that what is this is the end? This is how it goes. And so anyway, all of a sudden we like make it to Mopac, and he kind of calms down, and he's like, okay, Miss Destiny, if you were president tomorrow, what would the nation look like? Like, what would that look like? And I was like, that's actually a great writing prompt. And I said, we would have a nation that supports women so well that we have, child housing or parenting student housing on campuses, and we have daycares on campuses, and we have lactation rooms and diaper changing tables in, the workforce, and we have resources for women and support systems for women so that no woman has to walk alone through this. And we just have a society that really steps up and doesn't expect women to fit into this male normative world, because she knows she has healthcare and she has housing and she has all of these things if she wants to choose life. And so I was like, I think at that point you wouldn't even need to make it illegal, because I said, and this is where everything changed. I said, at the end of the day, I have so many post-aborted friends, and I hear the hurt in their heart, and I know so many of them wish that they didn't have to make that choice for abortion. And all of a sudden he goes, yeah, I actually know someone like that too. And I said, well, then that a lot of women, like, nobody wants this to be part of their story. Like, even if it's just because they don't want to have to spend $500 on something, to like a baby eraser, like you don't want to have to do that, right? But I think it goes deeper, and for a lot of women it's really wounding. And he said, he goes, yeah, so my ex actually still blames me for our abortion. And I said, has she ever gone through any type of healing? And he's like, okay, so hopefully it's not paused now. He said, we really don't talk about it very much. And I said, well, the good news is there's groups out there that she can talk to, she can flesh it out. Because I said, even my most pro-choice friends who are like, I've had an abortion, I don't regret it, it was the right choice for me. I said, every single one of them knows exactly how old their kid would be if they would have had it. And he goes, that is so crazy. That's the one thing she always mentions. And I was like, that's why I don't think women truly want abortion. And he said, wow, Miss Destiny, like, I think you might be onto something. So it goes from him being irate with me, pretty sure he's gonna murder me at some point, to I'm getting out of the car and he's like, keep up the good work, you're doing really neat stuff. And I was just like, and this is like, I mean, a 12-minute ride at most. But it's because I wasn't talking about politics and I wasn't talking about religion. I was talking about a consistent life ethic message. I told him all about consistent life ethic. I told him all about these things because he's like, I'm very liberal. And I'm like, in a lot of ways, I'm very liberal too. I mean, it was just so phenomenal. And the fact that I'm telling you about the Uber ride before like this amazing dinner I had, like that tells you what a great Uber ride this was. So the dinner I had was with a Republican correspondent for Telemundo. So she works with Jorge, is it Ramos, the one who got in the fight with President Trump, right? So she does a lot of stuff with him. And so she, every time I'm in Austin, she asks if I want to come meet up with her. And I just haven't really had a reason to or time to in the past. But tonight I was dog tired. We went to a graduation and then we ate for like 4 hours because that's what my husband's Mexican family does. Like we just eat for a really long time. And I kind of wanted to come home and just sleep forever. But I was like, no, I think I'm supposed to go to this dinner. So I go meet up with her and her husband, and we start talking, and we're kind of arguing politics, and I'm telling her why I'm an independent. And we're talking about, hold on, there's a huge bus in front of me right now. Like I said, I'm in hipster central Austin. So I've got buses and gaggles of skateboarders passing me. Anyway, so she kind of starts defending her positions. And then she starts telling me some other issues that are more liberal that she supports, which I don't know if she wants me telling the world about those. So anyway, we start talking. And then all of a sudden Beto comes up and she goes, you know, I wish Beto wasn't so hardcore when it comes to abortion. And I said, me too, dude. Like, he's so consistent in so many other areas, but he doubled down when he started running for president. And she's like, yeah, he and I actually text. And I was like, you and Beto work? She's like, yeah, I met him at Telemundo one time. And so we have really good conversations about stuff. And I was like, you know, she goes, what do you think his position should be? And she wanted to get into the legality of stuff. And I said, no, it should be unthinkable and unnecessary. That's something that the pro-choice and pro-life side can come together on, because it is something that, again, most of us know. No woman wants abortion to be part of her story. And so as we're talking, I was like, we need focus on prevention, we need focus on education, and we need focus on dropping the abortion rate and making it unnecessary. Because here's what happens when that happens. When you have less women affected by abortion, you have less of a lobby and industry and I have hair in my mouth, and activist movement that is promoting it as a global good, right? Because the people who have been affected by it, kind of that dwindles in numbers, and they no longer want to be these mouthpieces that are out justifying it, because so many of the women who have been hurt by abortion feel the need to validate it and say it's just a clump of cells and it's not a big deal, because the alternative is so horrifying to so many of them, and we know that. And so when you see that number go lower, the culture changes, society changes. And so as I'm telling her this, she pulls out her phone and she starts texting, and she's like, let's get a picture together. I like this. He needs to focus on making abortion unthinkable and unnecessary. I'm going to tell him that more of us will be on board if he does that. And I'm going to send him this picture of us. And this is a message I'm going to get to him. And I'm just like, is this really happening? Like, I'm sitting with someone who's texting Beto O'Rourke and his campaign manager with our message, with our New Wave Feminist message. It was amazing. And then at the end, I told her that we're going to be changing over to a working board in the next few months. Like, we've got to get legit, guys. I love being this ragtag girl gang, but I think we're supposed to be bigger than this, because I think we're going to, like, maybe change the fucking world or something. And so she was like, if you would ever want me on your board, like, just hit me up. And she is someone who definitely has a lot of connections in this world, but she's really reasonable for a conservative. That was rude to say. I'm gonna piss off all the conservatives. I used to be a conservative, guys. I get it. But she's such an awesome, reasonable person. And it was like, that's why I was supposed to have dinner with her tonight. And then to have that, like, phenomenal Uber conversation. So anyway, now I have to go inside and eat hipster pizza with my husband, but I had to tell y'all that story. I don't know why I'm getting hair in my mouth. I don't even know that it's my hair at this point. This place is kind of a little... Yeah, it's my hair. It's purple, for sure. Anyway, amazing night. I hope y'all enjoyed my crazy story. I don't understand the yeet joke. I keep seeing it on the internet. I need to get woke or lit or whatever to whatever yeet is, because I don't get it, you guys. But I'll go to Urban Dictionary right now while I eat my hipster pizza, and I'll figure it out. I hope you guys have a great weekend.